Okay, sometimes maybe you're on the night shift, your circadian rhythms are off. Who knows? For whatever reasons, a lot of people wake up in the middle of the night. Um, you got the red lights on, so as not to disturb your circadian rhythms. But that aside, that's a different video. On this one, we're talking about just doing some simple stretching. Okay? Uh, Done zero research for this video, very impromptu, zero preparation, typical Dr. T style. You see, I got the hair head. Basically, like many of you, I get insomnia and I battle with arthritis. Uh, Even though I hate to admit it or phrase that and put it out into the universe to kind of own it, perpetuate it, we have to watch what we say, right? It's one of the laws of prosperity, laws of the universe, manifestation. If you believe you have the power, then you have more power, right? You got to believe to use your abilities. All right, so as I'm sitting here talking trash, what am I doing? I'm sitting on the mattress and I got my wrists in flexion. Now, as you can imagine, I'm a chiropractor. I'm pushing with my hands. I know, I'm the worst producer. That's not bad. Okay, good. I'm pushing, on people's backs and adjusting them and, yeah, slamming, ham slamming, hand slamming. Oh, I put my hands down like this and lay on top of people. Like I put my hand under their back and then I lay on top of them. So two people crushing my hand into the table or the cushioning. But as you can imagine, do 100 of those or 300 of those a day, and your hands might be getting sore, might even be getting a little arthritic. I have some injuries on this hand. And so a little stretching of the fingers, not bad. So yeah, I do random yoga in the middle of the night, right? And I was thinking, I'm always explaining to people with wrist injuries how to stretch their wrists. And you see what I'm doing? I'm kind of making a circle. I'm stretching my wrist into every angle, or the most angles I can achieve, where it kind of hurts, right? Where it's stiff. I want to stretch into that spot and linger there. It's not a rush thing. The longer you stay there, the better. Uh, 30 seconds, I'm pushing hard against the mattress. I'm pushing blood out of that area. I let blood back in. Come back in. I'm kind of pumping. It's better to stay static when you stretch. But, I'm pumping blood in and out of the area. So now I can do both wrists. I lean from one side of my body to the other. I'm really working on this flexion. In Aikido, they do push-ups like that. I'm getting a lot of extension when I'm working. I'm pretty tight in extension too, not going to lie. And so I can do different stretches for that. Stretch the elbow, stretch the wrist against the body. Grab the thumb. Yeah. Oh, not a good camera angle. I have to set up better for that one. Might help to have better lighting too, so. Yeah, wrists like right now. I don't know if you can even see it. I got my left one behind my head, under my head, against the pillow or blanket, and this shoulder's pretty much out of the socket. It's all kind of damaged. But as I'm pulling it out from under my head, it's kind of long axis tractioning my wrist, decompressing my wrist. It's pulling my hand kind of away from my body and separating my hand from my arm to a very small degree. But it's kind of a decompression, if you will. Basically, I'm stretching the muscles and the ligaments in the hand, the forearm, the wrist, fingers even, right, as I roll my head on top of my hand and my fingers. It's kind of more the dog that bit you instead of two bodies on top of my hand crushing it. Now it's a head kind of like helping circulate some blood and lymph. And yeah, that's really, the body relies on motion to move things around. So did that even make sense? It sounded almost oxymoronic or something, but redundant, I guess. Ow. Not oxymoronic. Yeah, this shoulder's janked. So we might be moving from wrists to shoulders in this video. But it's good to roll around. And so sometimes you can't sleep, your muscles hurt, your body hurts. You know, I'll get into a position now, I'm stretching my right shoulder, which wasn't even bothering me, but it seems wants to stretch. Now, I could almost fall asleep in this position. Sometimes I probably do for a while, and then my arm might be asleep. Oop. So now you're hearing my forearm, I believe, just released. Exactly. So through stretching my lats, my back, all the fascia is connected. Now I'm grabbing my wrist and my forearm. I massage the forearm. I grab my wrist and I'm pulling it away from the body. Long axis traction. All right, now I could also work on my thumb. It's going to release. Ow. Maybe it would have released. I don't know. I'm not going to force it. Oh, just moving things very stiff. As you would imagine, at about 2:30 in the morning. This week, I don't know how many people I adjusted. Maybe 4 days. Probably, I don't know. Max probably would have been 50 each day. I don't know if I hit 50 each day. And that would have been 200. So I'm going to say somewhere between 150 and 200. Probably closer to 150. But who knows? I didn't even try to count or keep track, but kind of, I don't know. The total list, which I probably did close to half or maybe 40% of, I don't know, maybe less than that, but that list, I guess, is irrelevant to the stretching. But, you know, I put a lot of pounding on these wrists and these elbows. And so now as the wrist starts working out, it starts climbing up. The tension is only remaining here in the elbow. And so I'm rolling it. Complete supination of the wrist and the hand. And also, you know, just rolling it both ways until now my shoulder's hurting. Ow. But yeah, you got your pronation, your supination, and I'm supinating it now, which is giving me external rotation of the shoulder. Owie. And as you can tell by my crybaby whining, that it hurts. Okay, but it's releasing. It's feeling a lot less tense. I feel like some blood flow is getting into there. It's a little chilly out. It's winter time, and so the heat, the blood circulation is picking back up. Massaging the hands, right? Just doing some friction massage, efflourage. You know, I kind of apply some gentle pressure into the muscles. I guess I'm doing a lymph thing where you pull away from the body, right? Long axis traction. Yeah. You know, I used to do some wooden man and smash my forearms into things and stuff. And so they're not super happy. And then P to A adjusting, like when people are laying face down and I'm adjusting on top of their back. can really jam up my forearms and my wrists and elbows. And so it's good to, to massage him and work it out. I mean, if I don't, I probably won't make it. And so I don't even know what just released. I guess my elbow as I pull on my wrist. But I'm just stretching all the muscles and all the tendons in the forearm, right? And I'm massaging them into the stretch. That's really how I'm applying the stretch. I kind of bring it to the end range of motion. Let's see if you can see what I'm doing. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Okay, and I apply pressure down and out. Here's my other hand, if you can see it. Yeah. And so I'm just getting in between the two bones in the forearm as I'm completely pronated. And I kind of push my radius further into pronation, right? So it's twisted and as far as it'll go. And then I'm using my other hand to twist it more. And I'm pushing it down toward the mattress. It's not lying flat. When I'm completely pronated, I cannot get to 180 degrees and lay my arm flat. It should go flat. And when I push it down with my other arm, I can get it there. Like barely. But it's janking through the elbow and my elbow is tight. So I need to do this. Obviously, that's why I'm up in the middle of the night doing it, right? And then I feel the tension coming into the thumb. And so I have patients complain their shoulder, right? They get pain down from their neck, tension, shoulder, all the way down here into like a C6 pattern, the radius off the radius. So like the thumb, the first digit or the first couple of digits. And, it's tight shoulders. It's tight muscles in the neck and the back. And the forearm and the wrist, right? So if you're not doing what I'm showing here, you're going to be janked up pretty much, unless I guess, you're not lifting heavy weights, you're not hanging from bars, you're not really using the muscles in your wrists, arms, and forearms too much, and your elbows, aren't taking a beating like mine are. Like compressing or compacting or repetitive motions, repetitive trauma. I mean, you know what ails you. Ow. So I've been doing this now almost 13 minutes. The elbow's really starting to feel it, starting to loosen up. You can see now I'm pushing my elbow into flexion and my wrist hard, completely into flexion, kind of rotating externally. And I'm really feeling the stretch on the anterior deltoid. Across the elbow, ow, and the tricep and the rotator cuff attachments on the upper arm, back to again long axis tractioning, and now I'm massaging more along the top of the radius instead of being pronated and pushing it down into full extension. I'm kind of a neutral position, and I can get the top of the radius where I used to smash it into things. So it's appreciating, all these tendons and all this scar tissue here needs a lot of work. I beat this up for decades. And as I do now, the thumb's releasing, the wrist is releasing. Super big release on the thumb. I don't know if you saw that. It's the long axis traction move with extension. You got to be careful on this one, people. Disclaimer, because spoiler alert, you could really injure yourself. People have done it, so be careful when you're going for releases, trying to crack your knuckles. Right? I'm a real pro. I make it look easy, but you can certainly cause some tendonitis. Sprain, strain, basically. You go ahead and overstretch your ligaments, and you're going to feel it. You can feel it for months, maybe years. You can even tear a muscle, so don't get too crazy. Even massage can bring about a lot of soreness. But, listen to your body and don't overdo it, okay? Um, now I'm in total supination, so I'm working all the different angles across my forearm. I see there's lots of tension here on the other side across the ulna. I've been neglecting, right? I guess when I do massage, I focus on the areas that are mainly giving me pain and there's a lot of tension. And so they get priority. And then I realize, ow, this other side, I'm not even, like, I never dig in here. So it's been a while, right? I don't even, feels awkward to me to try to get at it. Oh, but, a good way, just try to wing it. Take your arm, your hands, your wrist through a full range of motion, right? You twist in both directions. There you go. It starts to loosen up. Sometimes maybe you do it a little hard, you might get a little sore. That's kind of the idea. Don't make it too sore. But, you're kind of breaking up adhesions and scar tissue, just loosening up the fascia. The fascia is not meant to be calcified and ossified and turns into bone, believe it or not. And these two bones can fuse together. If you've had traumas, repetitive microtrauma, even, I guess, totally could be metabolic, but you have to combine it with some lack of activity, pretty much. So if you keep it stiff and don't move it, it will die. And there's like the one hand yogi or something. The guy kept his arm over his head and froze that way. All right. Anyway, we're digressing major here, people. I'm just gonna roll over now. I got a quad issue. I got my quads kind of hanging off the side of the bed here, and we did some pretty good work on that wrist and forearm. I could dig it for hours, but now you see I'm laying with my head in full rotation as I lay prone, and what's releasing is my upper thoracic, I think a rib or a facet just set loose. Major relief of pain. Okay, 30 seconds there, 30 seconds to the other side as I wiggle my pelvis up and down and stretch out my toes, my knees, massage my face and my chin. So much tension in my jaw and my face and under a lot of stress. Oh, there goes the other elbow. The left side, right? So just propping myself up, kind of planking over, stretching the right shoulder and the right tricep. I was talking about the elbow. That's what's going on. So now, whoa, I can get my head digging into the bicep and stretch out this shoulder, stretch this tricep. Ooh, Nelly! Stretched it pretty good right there. Gotta pull back. I feel my lats tight. I got ridge out in the back. Thoracic vertebrae that are, I guess, arthritic. I hate to admit it, but, that's what's getting you, people. That's what's getting you. That's the thing we're battling as chiropractors, is the arthritis primarily. So, it's all about keeping it moving. I hope this video is helping you. Do the whole thing, share it with people, right? Maybe it'll help them. I believe, and the research backs me up. It's pretty much where I formed this belief, these crazy research. But there's a lot of research on exercise physiology and how exercise affects physiology and, all kinds of motion, massage. Tons of benefits. There's tons of research papers out there. The effects, the positive effects of massage and gentle stretching, yoga. Look it up. Comment below. All that good stuff. Yeah, I mean, you don't need all that data, right? Basically, all you need to know is how it feels. And bedhead aside, I feel much better, right? I'm stretching my triceps, my shoulders rolling side to side. Ah, it's good to roll around. It's good to have a mattress. Thank the Lord that you have, what you got, and thank the universe. Whatever. Be grateful. Whoever you thank. If it's the Lord, the gods, the universe, the stars. Thank heavens. Thank the supernatural and the natural. Thank yourself, okay? Give yourself a big hug. That's what I tell the patients when I'm doing anterior dorsal moves and smashing my hands. I tell them, give yourself a big hug. You deserve it. See, look, so now I'm laying here. Oh, crawling around, and I'm still working the knuckles. Where I was cracking them a little before, I went through them, flexion, and they're still releasing. These tendons in these hands are tight. And, there's intracellular and extracellular toxins moving around the lymph. Lactic acid primarily, probably. When you do a lot of work with your hands and the muscles, are growing. Basically, you're breaking them down, right? You're stretching them and pushing them beyond their capacity. And so the body, builds back stronger. And, but you got to kind of break it down. That's why you get that soreness. We go to the gym and we pretty much tear our muscles in micro ways with the weightlifting and the resistance training. And, or we put pressure on them. Perhaps it's metabolic pressures like the need for more oxygen and faster metabolism. So they can have more fuel and energy due to higher energy demands, maybe due to exercise. Obviously due to exercise. But yeah, stretch it out. Grab your fingers. There's no real wrong way to do it. The wrong way to do it is a way to hurt yourself, okay? I go side to side. I had injuries on this finger. Just keep it moving. This here, right, was my stepdad used to say this is his exercise. That was it. That was his workout for the day. But hey, if that helps keep you from getting arthritis in your hands, or slows the progression, or helps relieve, whatever. Maybe you have numbness, tingling, circulatory issues in your hands. Certainly shown to improve has been proven to improve circulation, right? It's all about circulation. Keep it moving, keep it going. If you're not moving, I guess you're not really living. And I'm sorry, for you. But if you keep coming to me and getting adjusted, or going to your own chiropractor and getting adjusted, it's likely that you will be able to move more and easier. Patients tell me, I have some patients that are elderly, a lot actually now, and they're challenged with what we call ADLs, activities of daily living. So like putting on your socks, putting on your shoes, when you can't stretch and move and reach your legs and, that's my hip. See, I'm stretching my hip now. So laying prone, right, with my head in extension, lifting my head into extension. So I'm kind of working out certain muscle groups, right, my lordotic muscles. Because even though we might hang our head and lift our heads all day, it's not at the end range of extension. So when we crawl around or get prone, now we're working out the same muscles that have been exhausted, but a different part of them. And and so they appreciate that. Like, that's why when you work out, you generally don't do part range of motion, you do full range of motion. right? Because maybe you just have a workout in a small part of the range, and then, uh, you just need to pump some fluids around, so you want to go through a full range, and it just feels stiff. Thus the repetitive micro trauma. Um, but you can certainly do that through a full range of motion as well. The idea is not to overdo it. And so as I'm just laying here, leaning my head to one side, leaning onto one elbow, stretching my back muscles, my spinal erectors, and digging my knees into the bed and pushing off the chair, the recliner behind me, and just moving my pelvis around, stretching my pelvis, lifting up one side and then the other, rocking it back and forth, engaging my sacrum. I had a big release just a few seconds ago. I don't know if it picked up on the camera, but yeah, gentle stretching, people. All right, we're 25 minutes into this bad boy. I think you're getting the gist of it, right? It's kind of a natural method. Get yourself on the floor, get on the mattress, right? As I say, get on the floor. I'm going to shift out of this position, right? My neck muscles are starting to fatigue, and I've loosened up my legs a little. Now I'm sliding down the bed, pressing my quads against the edge of the mattress. It's a fantastic little massage. Now my scrotum's getting a massage. Ow. As I slide that off the edge of the mattress. And I feel like my elbow's about to release. Yeah, so now my knees, I'm on my knees on the floor. And I'm leaning back into kind of a prayer position. My left knee just released in a big way. I'm sitting on my feet, both of my knees, my fibulas. Everything's releasing. Kind of dark down there to see, but worst video production ever. Be sure to print this one. I guess this might be just a practice run, but I like the impromptu vids, and it's almost publish worthy. I mean, I don't know if you guys appreciate the impromptu vids, but as I contemplate publishing this video, I'm going back into the neck, relaxing the neck muscles. I'm in flexion now, somewhat, not fully, well, pretty far though. And with the big time left rotation, max rotation, pretty much. And I'm stretching out the right triceps and the right shoulder. Both shoulders. And certainly still sitting on the feet. And the knees are getting it. The right knee had a lot of trauma. We recently did a TRT therapy on there. Pretty fancy machine up at McCullough Chiropractic in Santa Cruz. Now I'm doing plugs. But, shout to them because, whatever, they did it for free. I'm helping them out, kind of doing a little chiropractic for them right now. So again, plugging myself, I guess, if you want to come up there and get adjusted. But they don't do one-offs. They don't do ones and dones. If you want a one and done or just a few visits, you can come see me in Monterey. Right now, we got a place at 942 Munras, but let's see, it's December, it's Christmas time, late December 2021, coming into 2022. So who knows how long we'll be at Monras. Right now, we're negotiating with the landlords on the parking, and I only got a 1-year lease. I'm going into my second month, and already McCullough Chiropractic wants to buy out my lease and get me up to his place in Santa Cruz full time. So it's a generous offer, but I don't know if we're going to take it, and or even try to, should I stay or should I go? Now in Monterey, I've been looking for space for so long, and it's a cute little space. We got all moved in. I think it's pretty functional. and I'm excited to get it going. Um, certainly there's monetary pressure, but the monetary pressure kind of goes away with the yoga and the stretching, right? So now I'm got my legs all kinds of contorted. I'm doing a bit of a pigeon on the floor. So if you look up pigeon pose, uh, it's kind of an assisted pigeon, right? Because I'm leaning against the mattress and the bed and the frame, and I get to rest my head, kind of pushing into extension now while working on my jaw, which I've been clenching like crazy. So while I'm in pigeon, I'm massaging my foot with one hand. I got one hand up here, stretching the shoulder and elbow and stuff. Not really intensely. Actually, it's not getting very much of a stretch. I realize I can multitask because it still needs some. And then you get different angles on the legs and the hips. Right, as my arm, I'm stretching down the top of the radius, right? What am I doing? Pronating hard and using the mattress to twist me into pronation. Pretty much only chiropractors is going to watch this video. Did I say pronation too much? Yeah, but it kind of needs it. I could really spend an hour easily on each shoulder, rolling around on the mattress, getting the body weight up and over it and into every angle. I really should. And I might have to before I actually go back to bed. Yeah, by stretching my head into rotation, it comes down my whole back. My whole spinal erectors are stretching. And this knee had some damage right in the TRT. It's not liking the pigeon too much now. It's straining it too much. I feel like it's kind of pulling the muscle and doing some damage. So I'm straightening it out a little, taking the pressure off, doing some massage where I feel like the tearing sensation and the attachments around the pes anserine and the middle of the knee, the medial collateral ligament, but I don't think I have. I've certainly probably damaged that back in the day, and there's scar tissue in here for sure. All the muscles of the quadriceps, or at least half of them, are coming around to this middle side and attaching here by the knee, what they call the pes anserine. So a lot of pressure just coming in, on these muscles and tendons and ligaments and all around the patella and the knee. And I had an old snowboarding injury, and we just recently did the TRT machine to it. Really like 5 minutes, but I don't know, it got in there pretty deep. The knee doesn't bother me like too crazy, but this quad I kind of tore about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and we're going to try getting, I did a little pressure wave on it, I think helped some, and I felt like it definitely broke up the scar tissue, and maybe helped stimulate it a little bit. But yeah, once the muscle's torn, it's hard for it to like really regenerate and regrow. They talk about stem cells in this TRT machine. I haven't researched it yet. Pretty much they say stimulates, stem cells. I guess any therapy probably would. So I don't think they're lying. But maybe this therapy does it more, a lot more, right, at a much higher rate than other therapies. So that would be unique. It sounds like that's the way they market it, but who knows about truth in marketing and advertising these days? It's a fine line, and sometimes they get in trouble with making too many claims. So we'll see, but all these modalities can be very helpful, whether it's sound waves and pressure waves and light beams and laser beams and stuff. People report a lot of good. So, if I had one here at the house, I'd probably be laser beaming up all over the place. I've screwed around and done some. Yeah, and I'd say probably helps. The laser is harder to feel. Uh, certainly, like the TRT therapy actually hurts. They're looking for high pain levels. So it's supposed to really hurt or it's not doing work. But sometimes you got to pay the price, right? So if you want to get down into some real, you know, soft tissue healing and regeneration and, increasing mobility, right? Because it's about function. And so now I'm repositioning around on the floor. I'm out of pigeon and I'm just straightening out, like my hammies are super tight as I try to sit on my sacrum and my tailbone. Oh, it's painful. But I can kind of roll onto it. Whew. And straighten out. My wrists are now into extension. So it took about 36 minutes and I'm barely mobile, but we're getting into the wrists, into extension, the neck relaxing into extension, rocking on the sacrum and the coccyx. Yeah, rocking back and forth. Feeling pretty good. We had a little pigeon. The legs are starting to feel good. I feel like I could almost get up and run to the kitchen and stuff my fat face with more food. Ah. Alright, so now I got my feet together and my knees apart. Basically, the medial aspect of my knees is facing up toward the ceiling and I'm doing butterflies. As I bring my heels closer to my body and my feet are together, you can't see it, but you can imagine it. And so basically, the little butterflies is kind of a gentle wobble. Not really a stretch, but I'm close to the end range, into my end range, the beginning of my end range. And I realize my left hip is out of the socket. Hello, good morning. So probably not too bad, but maybe, what am I in? Whatever range, end range of motion I'm in, I probably haven't been in for who knows how long. We tend to maybe not stretch and move through a full range of motion, especially with our legs. Right? Are you doing splits every day in every direction? If you are, kudos to you. That's what we're working on here. Right? So I feel like I could actually get into starting to stretch like that. And what I'm doing now is I got my knees together and they're over to the right side of my body. So I'm stretching out my low back. I'm still here stretching my shoulders. My neck into more extension. Working on the breath. Slow and deep. My hands are getting numb. Alright? My fingers are getting numb. So all the blood is pushed out. I think I had about enough on that. Ow, shake it out, shake it out. Shake it out, shake it. I'm twisting to the other side now. So my spine is twisting. Poof. Yeah, I gotta get up off of this left hand. It's kind of numb too. So the blood's coming right back in. I pushed all the blood out. Stretched. We're stretching into extension. They're leaning back on my hands. And again, they're releasing in extension to a further degree. Yeah. Stretching flexion. Extension and the shoulders pushing together. Activating the pecs and the chest and the sternum. Oh, so we're doing a little hammy stretch. I realize I can grab onto the mattress, under the mattress here in the frame. Oh yeah, the frame, there's some wires. And so, pointing my toes up to the sky, got my knees locked. An extension, my legs are straight in front of me. And I'm basically just sitting up straight. And man, I feel it through my hamstring attachments, all through my sacrum and my coccyx. Like, Jesus, super tight, right? And I realized, okay, what was I doing? Leaning over on these extra low tables, adjusting a lot of people, and then cleaning up, putting pillows back on the tables, picking them up off the floor, pillows and heater mats. Yeah. So a lot of leaning over to the floor. Oof. And not always squatting, with knee injuries and stuff. The left shoulder is totally out of the socket. Now I'm hanging on this bed frame and I can lean back my head into extension, rock back more on my sacrum, taking a little pressure off that hammy stretch, getting a little left shoulders out of the socket stretch on this frame. Right now I'm working my rhomboids. Right, my arms are straight, and then I can use my back muscles to pull me up before I start to bend my elbows. I can only come so far with straight arms. Right, I got about 6 inches of motion here. See that? That's all rhomboids. So I'm squeezing my rhomboids together. Oh, and then my upper thoracic back cracks. Right, those muscles tend to be weak. Personally, in my own cadaver studies, I remember it's quite typical to have very weak, thin rhomboid muscles, undeveloped. Very few people have developed their rhomboids. Maybe a few bodybuilders out there know what I'm talking about. But here's how you do it. Oh, at least one of the ways. And so, it comes down the attachment to the spinal erectors, and I can feel, all the muscles of my spine as I basically pull forward, my body weight forward. It's only a few inches of motion, but I can do an isometric squeeze. And I realize it's hard to do that because rarely do I focus on these muscles and at this end range, right? And I'm leaning back into extension, letting my head hang back. Oh, it's just fantastic, right? Now I'm running my shoulders forward to stretch these muscles out and do the opposite as I bring my head into flexion. I'm getting a great wrist, shoulder, elbow stretch off the frame of the bed, just leaning back. I could do one arm. Hope I don't pull the bed aside. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. This whole right shoulder is going to release. What a great stretch. So, I'm warming up to get on the bar, and now I'm leaning back into flexion on the right wrist as I hang with the left arm, which is out of the socket. So I'm supporting with my right arm, and I got the wrist into flexion kind of along the 4th and 5th digit here. They feel kind of out of sort. Yeah, so I'm thrusting up my body and adjusting my wrist against the floor. Don't try this at home. For those of you playing the home version, don't try this at home. But, my wrists and hands are really janked from working, so I have to adjust them. I am a licensed, educated, certified, bona fide, qualified chiropractor. So, whew, I know at least enough to try to not hurt myself. Alright, so now I'm working on my quad on the right side. It's got a partial tear. I'm massaging that as I do. Left knee is bent into kind of an Indian style. I know that's not politically correct anymore, but kind of a half pigeon. Woof. And so I just let go of the bed frame. Now I'm starting to lean over onto the left leg. And my left leaning onto my left arm. Pushing my left hip further into kind of external rotation. Whew. Yeah, I guess abduction even. Let's just put it this way. I get a little bit of a left hip stretch. That sucker's out of the socket. And I'm also stretching my right quadriceps as I just put my leg into complete extension. And I'm running the length of my quads with my right hand, feeling the muscles and the tears, and it really doesn't feel bad. It feels pretty good. So I'd say it's healing. I was in need of some therapy and some modalities, and I found some. Yeah, I just adjusted my right knee in full extension. Like I say, don't try this at home. Had a lot of injuries, a lot of damage to this right knee, and I guess I'm pausing. It doesn't hurt, but it's a big release on the system. And so I was kind of in extension. Now I'm kind of rotating it, breaking up more scar tissue, going further into extension. Yeah, we kind of guard. So I haven't been allowed a full range of motion in this right knee for a long time. I'd say that stem cell therapy machine, TRT, did some work. And I think it kind of breaks things up. And then the body comes back and heals itself, like most modalities. So, it's amazing power of the body. The body heals itself. Power of the body that made the body heals the body, all right? The body is a self-healing mechanism. The power that made the body heals the body. All right, people, bless you all. I hope you're healing, and get yourself some good nutrition. Pay attention to the light cycle. Get some sunlight in the morning, and get some good sleep. Let the body heal. Peace and love. We'll see you on the next video.